gathering. Hey, hey, hey. We're back. We're black.
Mm-mm.
We're brand ambition.
Ambition.
Hey, Mandra, how you doing, girl?
I thought you were gonna put like a little Elvis flavor on it, you know?
Why? Because I'm
No,
in
okay.
Vegas. You
Yeah,
like
because
my
you're in
little
Vegas.
transition?
Yes, I do. What even are you there for?
So I
Because
am
the
in
budget needs to
Vegas.
to Vegas.
I am in Vegas. I know, right? I'm in Vegas for my bestie's 50th birthday. Happy birthday to you, Cabral.
50.
Yeah, I know. It's not.
I
Yeah, I mean,
guess.
Cabral doesn't get 50, but I mean, we're here. I always heard that black
Yeah.
don't crack unless you do it,
Hmm.
and he doesn't. So he looks great.
Good for him.
And so, like some people, this is not me, but some
Hmm.
people are really good, like friend people. Maybe I'm not like a bad friend, but
Yeah.
literally, he has like 15, 20 people here who flew from all around the country to come to Vegas for him for like four
Yeah.
days. And there are people here, oh, this is my friend group from high school. I'm like, I think I know two people from high school from all walks of life. Cabral is somebody who I don't even know how he
Yeah.
keeps up with people. He's such a good friend that we all just
Yes.
dropped our busy lives and came to Vegas to get down.
Well, he's probably done that for y'all, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember
Yeah.
remember we went to go see Usher. Remember that time my sisters and I went to
Yes.
Vegas to go see Usher. Cabral was like, "Oh, because his grandmother lived here at the time, and he goes likes a little gamble that he
Hmm.
had some comped rooms, and so he's like, "Oh, you don't have to pay for a hotel; you can use my comp rooms." And I said, "Oh,"
Oh,
so I'm thinking
nice.
like, we'll just go and say, "Hey, Cabral," but no, he had to come and check us in, and I remember.
Speaking of like showgirls
Mhm.
live, should we prepare a little like should we do like a little choreo? Like a little
We should. I mean, we already be doing the snake
should I
on the show.
bring my like that belly dancing skirt that I bought in Turkey 11 years ago and I still haven't worn, but I carry it from house to house to house? 1 year I'll wear
I don't really
it.
have good rhythm. I feel like you have better rhythm than me. I'd be like, oh Lord.
It's fine. We would choreo to your. It would be like when I choreographed when we had our wedding dance done for me and Enrique. It was choreographed to his skill level. You know,
Not to his skill level. Because Manny got rhythm, y'all.
you know,
Okay.
when he was okay, we were all okay. Yeah, I'm really excited. It's sold out. We got the wait list is also packed for
Yeah.
the so I'm excited. We need to squeeze. I might try to trick you into doing one more live event before you go before you
Manny's like, this
leave
is
us.
good.
It's so I mean, I'm just like people are coming.
Yeah.
No, I'm very, very excited for our live show. You guys will be able to you'll be able to tune in even if you can't make the show live.
Mhm.
We will be posting it as an episode at some point in the near future, but first we have to get through it. I'm nervous.
Mm.
And speaking of friends who are traveling cross country for you, my friend Chris from Popcorn Finance, he is literally coming from California to New York
No.
because he is such a tech nerd and I took advantage of his like obsession. And I was like, wouldn't it be fun if you figured out how to help us record a live episode? And
Ooh.
of course, these techie guys like my husband and him, I just knew I was like, before this is all done, he's going to upgrade his entire kit. He's going to get like a new lens, all. And yes, he has. But Chris is, yes, so generous to be doing that for us. And
Okay.
I'm so excited to get to squeeze some BA fam in person
Yeah.
and they can give me their hugs, for
Take
you.
pictures.
Yeah, take pictures. Come get these cool stickers that I ordered.
Ooh, I saw.
Yes. No, it's going to be a great time, and I think it's very apt that you're in Vegas right now because I feel like our conversation, especially from last week's show, the response to last week's
Ooh,
show, I'm
child.
like, I feel a little bit of a vulnerability hangover for talking about.
We went viral. Okay.
But if y'all have been listening to the show, I haven't not said that it's been a difficult time. I've been saying it without saying it.
Mm-hmm.
But last week, just for some reason, I was like, I think this is going to strike a chord. So I shared that clip of me talking about my property
Mm-hmm.
taxes, and whoa,
Whoa.
um, on TikTok and IG, and I don't know. I guess it's it's one of those times where when you're vulnerable, you talk about your finances, but you're not necessarily someone who fits the description of someone who's,
Yes.
like I'm never going to qualify for any sort of income assistance or housing, all that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And I have beautiful children in a home, and like I'm so privileged in many ways. Sometimes people don't give you any kind of grace to struggle, and so I was really like, yeah, I was really warmly surprised by the
Mm.
response, and also sadly, just almost also terrified by the
Yeah.
response, because it is rampant, like the
Yeah.
number of homeowners especially, and people who are earning two income households who are
Yes.
just struggling to
Struggle.
make ends
Well, can you
meet.
can you recap for the people who are like, what's she talking about?
Yeah. So last week on the show, how do we even get off on that? So we were talking about credit card debt,
Yeah.
right? There was like some kind of statistic that came out talking about how American homeowners are on the edge, and you can tell because they're putting groceries and other household essentials
Yes.
on credit cards.
Yes.
And I was like, people, I'm me. um,
Hmm.
and not and one of the biggest drivers of that is that the cost of housing, even for us, you think as a homeowner, you purchase a house and you get it within your budget, right? You get approved for the mortgage and all of that, but you don't think about, okay, what happens when the property
Hmm.
assessment, like the value of your home, goes up in your town's eyes or whatever, like whoever's in charge of determining your property value, and that is directly tied to taxes and homeowners insurance, and it has dramatically increased our cost of housing, especially in the last couple of years. So I posted that clip on social, and there's a lot of people out there like struggling in the exact same way as
Exact
me.
same. And people were shocked. So one of the things that shocked me, because I'm so used to living in the expensive behind East Coast, that
Mm.
I wasn't shocked by, because my property taxes when I got my house in Newark were 75,000, and I want to say 75,000. Ooh, child, I rebuke that. Hold
You
on
live where
now,
Mary J. Blige lives,
girl.
Chris Rock.
We're 7,500, right?
Yeah.
7,500 for the year, and
Hmm.
now I want to say I'm pushing 11,000. I bought the house 5 years ago. I'm pushing like 11,000, maybe even 11,500. That's significant. So when you share that your property taxes, were, because how much were they when you first moved in? Do you remember how much it was monthly or annually?
I was trying to find our very first mortgage statement and I forgot to finish that project. But I know our mortgage was 25, it was like 2,500, I feel like, total.
Okay.
Not the mortgage,
Okay.
but like the total house payment, which included
Yes.
property taxes.
Hmm.
So I remember the time, I think they were around 11 or $12,000.
Okay.
Now they are certainly above that. Now it
Yes.
is, I haven't figured out. So a couple of questions that commenters had about my
Yes.
property tax stories. I said
Hmm.
my housing costs right now are up to nearly $4,000.
From
So what I meant
2,500 a month.
from 2,500, yeah. So and what I meant by that was my total
Hmm.
mortgage payment, which includes my property tax. So
Hmm.
a lot of us homeowners, we do pay like I pay a monthly property tax payment, but it goes in escrow, and then my mortgage lender holds that money,
Hmm.
and then they pay the town once a year or whenever it is.
Hmm.
So I'm always paying toward that, my husband and I. So, and that also includes homeowners insurance,
Okay. I
which
was
I
going to
know
ask
for
that.
sure
People
has
ask.
gone up.
Yes.
And it doesn't include things like my electric bill and heating and all that jazz. But yeah, so that's 4,000, about 4,000 a month, and then of that, about 2,500 or so is that additional cost on top of my mortgage payment.
Mm.
And it's just wild because I purchased a house that was well under $500,000 at
Mm.
the time, and yes, we did put about $100,000 of work into it,
Mhm, I
but
remember.
the property value has just, like I said in that last week, I think it's gone up like 50 or 60%. And
Mm.
that is out of our control because the town or whoever assesses the properties is like, there's such a shortage of homes right now in my area. And with the pandemic, rates were really low. People were like, moving out of the city, moving in up here,
Mhm.
trying to create rental properties, like take advantage of this short housing market, this weak or this really like tight housing market. And because of that, not because we've added anything to the house. Like the price of our house has just gone up. So I couldn't even afford this house now if I tried to buy it.
Wow. Can you
But
imagine?
I'm paying taxes on it, you know?
Yeah.
Like why am I paying taxes on a house that's 700,000 when I bought it for less than 500? And like it's very
Mhm.
frustrating.
Because it's crazy
Um
because in general, like on paper, it would say Mandy is wealthier because your
mhm.
house is worth more. Her asset has appreciated, which means has gone
Yeah.
up in value. But it's like, girl, wealthier we're.
Yeah, I mean, and to take advantage of that equity, you can take a home equity loan, like we talked about, which we
Hmm.
might do just to like get rid of some credit card debt. But like, yeah, like, that is an asset. It definitely is an asset. You know,
Yes.
I could end up borrowing up to like 70% of my equity if I wanted to,
Hmm.
but like that's another loan.
Yeah.
And I guess you could say you could take a you can do a cash out refi.
Hmm.
Or not a cash out refi. We could do a home equity loan and then use that money for as a down payment for another house. But I'm just going to end up in the same situation,
Yeah.
being in more house than I can afford.
It's crazy to
Um,
be richer but broker at the same time. It's a wild.
yeah. And I'm talking
'Cause-
like cash poor, and I don't want
yes.
people, shout out to
Yeah.
my friend Baron, who slid me a little something, something in my Venmo. I was like, Baron, if you don't stop. And Enrique,
He did you the grandmother fold into your hand like when you go to your grandma's house, give you a little $10 in your
yes, yes. And the way I kept it though, Enrique's like, Mandy, give that money back. I'm like,
hand.
he doesn't need it. I always joke. Baron's my Cabral.
Oh, I
He's
love
like
it.
single, living his best life. He is the only community of America, like the only people of America that are thriving right now are
Yes.
single like high earners right
Childless.
now.
Yes.
Childless. Oh, he is
Yes.
living the dream. You know? Mm, if only I could have been. But this was the life that
Gonna come
God
back in
chose
life
for
as a gay
me.
black man. I'm not gonna lie, because like Cabral's friends are fabulous. Cabral's openly gay, so it's not. I'm not.
Rich,
I
fab. Oh, he
mean,
is also, see?
what? I mean, doctors,
Hmm.
lawyers. I went yesterday. I said, is it a
Yes.
prerequisite that all y'all got to be fine and
Yeah.
successful and moneyed?
Sexy. They're in the
Girl,
gym. They're
I
cut,
mean, the way I was like, who got to? I
ripped.
don't even drink, but if I did,
Yeah.
girl, I wouldn't have to touch a bill. Ain't no 50-50 with them,
Yes.
okay?
So yeah, I'm keeping your money, Baron. Thank you very much. I'll use it on your birthday dinner that I still haven't taken you on.
No, but yeah, I think that I was shocked at how many people were so shocked by how much your
Mm,
taxes cost you monthly, because I guess I never thought about like what are property taxes. I'm curious, what are your property taxes are in middle
mm,
America, in Missouri, in North Carolina. I remember distinctly, because I'm nosy, one of my friends, Rachel. Hey, Rachel Rogers. She purchased, like, it was like all over Black Enterprise and Essence, whatever. She had purchased this beautiful ranch. And
mm.
it was one of the Carolinas, right?
North Carolina.
Yeah. So she
Yeah.
purchased this beautiful ranch. And I remember it was multiple acres. It wasn't like two or three. From what I remember, it was at least 10, maybe 20. I don't even know. But it
Yeah,
was,
it was land.
I
Lots of
mean,
land.
money. It was her 40 acres and a mother effing mule, okay?
Yeah.
And so I just remember, because I was nosy, I wanted to learn more about the property. It looked so beautiful. And I remember vaguely, like, I can't remember how much the property cost, maybe in the realm of like $2 million, something like that. And I
Yeah.
remember looking at the property taxes, Mandy, and being like, no mother effing way.
Mm.
They were, it was well under 10,000. I remember I was like, it was maybe
Wait a minute.
5,000.
Under 10,000?
Yes. I couldn't. I said, this can't be true.
How does this stuff get figured out?
I don't know. And I remember
Someone to
being like,
respond. I need
yeah.
the person who commented and said I work for a property assessment office somewhere. I was like,
Mhm.
I need to understand the math.
Yes.
And to some
Because
people, they asked me like, oh yeah, that question I got, or the
yes.
advice is you should appeal it. Well, on the show, I have talked about how we have appealed it
Mhm.
and been denied. I've
Twice.
twice, yes. And I would love, like, if y'all could explain how the math works. It is effed up.
Yes.
And also, where is it going?
Yeah.
Because my roads have potholes all over the place,
Mm.
and we I'm sure it goes into all kinds of services and all of that, but
Mhm.
it's really tough out here.
Yeah.
And to the point, back to how I originally segued into this, you're in Vegas. I thought that was very
Mhm.
apt, given the whole like roaring 20s
Mm.
element of it all, because you shared
Yeah.
this report
Article.
that's come out, right? So
Mhm.
talk about that a little bit, so I can get my
So
flapper heels ready.
So wait, first of all, I'm not really familiar with UBS. What does UBS stand for, do you know?
So it's a huge investment bank.
Okay.
And these investment banks put out, they put out reports,
Yeah.
sometimes monthly, quarterly, annually, but Wall Street watches them. So they have
Yeah.
economists who are like trying to predict the future all the time.
Yes.
Sometimes these reports make headlines like this one has.
Yes. So it basically says that they believe that the US economy is heading into what's called the roaring 20s. So the roaring 20s were like this booming economic time in the United States, and they were swiftly and quickly followed by the Great Depression. So I don't know if
Hmm.
they're trying to say we up or we down, but basically that it looks like we're
Yeah.
entering into this booming economic time. And what I told Mandy was like, I hear you, and I've been hearing about the economy is doing so great, but everyday people, I've never had my inbox more full with people who
Hmm.
are literally like the first opening line, I'm desperate. Hi,
Hmm.
Tiffany, I'm desperate. I'm so scared and afraid. I'm a nurse. My husband's a mechanic. I'm working. But I am not making ends meet. I think we're going to lose our house. I don't know where we're going to stay. And it's so, I mean, I've never seen it like this before. Even during the pandemic, this visceral kind of reaction.
Hmm.
And I was like on YouTube the other day, and I was flooded with all these like a collection. Apparently, there's like loud majority of TikTokers who are making. They're calling it broken tire. This trend where they are
Hmm.
talking about how they are working, they're not buying excessive things, and they are broke and they are tired
Yeah.
and they are working 2 and 3 and 4 jobs and still can't make ends
Hmm.
meet. So I'm like, what? Remember, we talked about this months and months ago. Remember, I was like, Mandy, is it me? Or does it seem to be
Hmm.
like a disconnect between the economy saying it's so strong and the market is up, and yet
Yeah.
everyday people never sounded broker?
Do you know
So,
why the
like,
economy is up and stocks are up and all that kind of shit? It's because corporations are doing great.
mm-hmm,
Because for whatever reason, you can blame. I've read things. I think that it's easy for us to say that companies are being greedy and raising prices because they can. All of that was somewhat going on, but it's actually just like a bunch of different factors. Everything is more expensive, and there is a lot of money to be made
mm-hmm,
off the back of consumers right now, but these reports often don't consider the average consumer. I think
yeah,
they only care about what happens to American dollars in terms of like, are we going to be spending and where are we going to be spending? And if we're not spending, like, they love that we're relying on credit cards
mm-hmm,
because we're still spending.
yep,
Let's not think about the 30% interest rate that we're paying on that credit card debt, or the fact that, it's going to take us years, if not never, going to be able to pay that debt down because we'll have to go file bankruptcy and
mm-hmm,
all of that. Like the point is that Americans are still feeling what, like, confident enough that we'll be able to pay off our debt, that we're using credit cards. And that's where I started to get kind of pissed off, because one of the things I shared last week was that my own family has benefited off the backs of this housing shortage, and they have gotten into this very lucrative business as property managers, and had just like had this huge tear for the last decade and are like wealthier than they've ever been. And these companies that have bought up these homes and are flipping them and renting them to people and raising the rent, like, there's a lot of money to be made. But
mm-hmm,
like, it's it it's only gonna, I feel like the bows will break when the American consumer finally stops. Like, we have to say
yes,
no more. And I'm worried about that because I'm also like, I went to the grocery store twice this week. Each time it was $300. One trip to
mm,
Trader Joe's. I didn't even know you could spend $300 in Trader Joe's. Oh my God. And then I went to BJ's because there's some stuff you can't get, another $300. Okay, fine. One of those was a $50 spider that I had to have for my front yard. But the point is, like, this credit card spending is still happening. And I wonder, almost like, are we just, is this roaring 20s thing? Is it willful? Is it like optimism, but is it like delusional optimism?
I
Are
feel
we?
the least optimistic because I'm looking, like, for example, so the Roaring Twenties is I'm on Britannica. Remember the encyclopedias? You might be
Oh
too
my
young, boo.
goodness, the little discs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, oh yeah, disc girl. We had the book encyclopedia. The encyclopedia man used to come to the
Oh.
house, and you would literally they
Oh,
would
no,
sell
no,
you
no.
a set. Child, that's what 45 looked like. But we they my we had Compton's, and Britannica was like if you was gotten a little bit of money, you was a little fancy.
Ooh,
So we
with
had
the
the
gold
Britannica
binding or
encyclopedia.
something. Mm.
So apparently they're online now because don't nobody buy books.
Mhm.
So the Roaring Twenties is a term for the 1920s, especially within the United States and other Western countries, where the decade that was characterized by economic prosperity, rapid social and cultural change and a mood of exuberant optimism. The thing is,
Mm,
maybe there's economic prosperity, to your point, not for the average person but for the corporations, but there is not a mood of exuberant optimism. That part
mm-mm,
is largely gone. And it's like, so the question I also asked is like, this is also from Britannica, like, so how did the roaring 20s kind of like lead to the Great Depression? And so one of the things is that there was the stock market crash, of that huge stock market crash where you hear about people jumping from the windows,
mhm,
killing themselves in 1929. So that was like literally the Roaring Twenties was one decade,
yeah.
and that, I guess what worries me is that, well, one,
Oh,
where
what
is
triggered
this?
that crash? Was it the fact that American consumers couldn't afford anything anymore? I
Let
forget.
me see. It said so from 1929 to 1939, the United States experienced one of the harshest economic downturns in the history of the country,
Hmm.
initiated by the stock market crash, a decade that was marked by high unemployment rates, bank failures, workers lost jobs along with their homes and possessions.
Hmm.
Um, it was honestly, the value of currency declined. Um, the agricultural market declined.
Mm.
I'm not really sure. And I remember, so this is when Delano Roosevelt was president. And have you ever heard of the New Deal? It was this legislation, this large, huge piece of legislation that he passed to promote recovery and relief. So I'm like, what was the stock market?
That was
I'm
the
trying to think.
beginning of like Social Security and welfare, right? It
Yeah, I'm trying to
says, oh,
think.
there was also like this stock market, like a lot of people doing like risky stock trades. So
Okay.
buying stocks on margin, not being able to afford it, not being able to afford what they had purchased, and then having so much debt. I'm
And
interested.
people
I
were
mean,
spending a lot. It looks like consumer spending in the 20s had reached an all-time high in the United States. American
mm,
companies were mass producing goods and consumers were buying technology. Like, so it was like this, and we've seen this. Like, I think the pandemic, everybody had all
mm,
this money because we were flushed with money. People, like, literally the government gave us money. And then we didn't have to spend as much because we're not driving, you don't have to get your hair
mm,
done. And so people were, and I don't know if you saw, there was this big, huge time of like everybody was doing these hauls, like, all the influencer, like I don't see it
mm.
nearly as much. Like, look at all the stuff I've bought. Honestly, the luxury market skyrocketed. I'm like obsessed with watching like people buy Hermes bag for like $30,000 and be like,
I did
how's
not know
like,
that, but
yeah, I
okay.
have this weird obsession on YouTube. My sister's like, why? I
You
like to
can watch them
watch,
buy them.
no, I like to watch I guess like these mini documentaries on luxury. So, because I'm trying
Mm,
to wrap my mind around what gets someone to buy a bag for 10, 20, 30, 40, $100,000. And
mm,
there was this huge uptick of regular average people. I'm talking about nurses, not the woman who's making $1 million a year, buying a Hermes bag, but like a nurse, a teacher with a 10, 20, $30,000 bag. And so I just like to watch these mini documentaries. I'm like, what was that mental shift? And people were flushed with money during the pandemic. They had the excess, and then we're online, and then you're seeing all the influence showing off their luxury goods, and even the luxury market is
mm,
is really in a steep decline because people don't have it. So there was this
mm.
overconsumption post pandemic, that we're seeing a steep decline. Remember, the girls were quitting, and we couldn't figure out where they were working. It was like, remember there was like that quit economy at one point where everybody
Oh
was
yeah,
quitting there. Yeah, but it was like, but where
yeah.
are they going to work? Because don't they have to work? And now everyone's kind of back like, hey,
Well,
big
you had the
head.
stimulus check. You had the
Mhm,
stimulus checks. You
mhm,
had there was this. I think. Well, yeah, for sure. I'm sure that the data will show that like the little cash reserves we were able to build up during the
mhm.
pandemic years have dwindled and gone.
Yes. Yep.
And I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, I don't want to be tapping into my investments. Cash money is what we need, honey. Um, but this whole Roaring Twenties, I just find it very chilling because I mean, from what I'm reading, like deflation was another cause of that, which is when prices go down. Which is like, aren't we trying to
Mm.
actively create deflation right now by the Fed lowering rates? I saw, one thing that we need to talk about really quick, which is my biggest pet peeve, in addition to property tax inflation, shrinkflation. I know we've talked about it before
Mhm.
because when I tell you I hate shrinkflation, so shrinkflation is I literally at Trader Joe's. Remember I told you about my $300 bill? I was just gobsmacked. I bought these like little applesauce pouches for the boys, And there used to be, I swear to God, there were 5 in a box before for like $3. Now there's 4. And I'm like, this is way more expensive. I mean,
What?
that makes a big difference, especially at the
Yes.
rate these kids are eating applesauce. I'm like, I need to fucking plant an apple tree and like start mashing this up myself. But like everything is smaller and smaller packaging, but the price has gone up. And this is not a new phenomenon, but something that I saw is that Senator Lizzie Warren, who we love, the
Hmm.
godmother of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, I would say conservatives like biggest enemy, maybe after AOC and the other queens, but Elizabeth Warren, she is right now creating legislation that is going to hopefully stop the biggest food and beverage companies from engaging in shrinkflation.
Yes.
So they have accused General Mills, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo of profiteering through shrinkflation
Hmm.
and by dodging taxes. So
Hmm.
General Mills didn't get their shit because they were reducing the size of cereal boxes, but still charging the same price.
Yeah.
And Coke has done the same thing.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them.
You open up a bag of chips. I remember when I did the when I went to the State of the Union, that was something that the President Biden mentioned about shrinkflation. Because you
Mm,
open up a bag of chips, you're like, I remember being 10
yeah,
chips, now it's 5.
yeah.
But also a lot of these corporations, there's a level of corporate greed that is unimaginable. So I just saw
Yeah.
there was a financial influencer that I really like. I forget her name, but she shared how there's now a class action suit that you can like apply to get money for if in the last 17 years you have been charged ATM fees by like, let's just say, you bank with, I don't know, Wells Fargo, and you went to Bank of America or whatever because there was not one nearby, and you got charged the fees, but you get double feed basically. Bank of America says, we don't know you, girl, here's your $3 fee. And then Wells Fargo said you went to somebody else, here's your other fee. And basically
Mm,
they found that banks were colluding to keep those fees high, which is it breaks those antitrust laws that you're not allowed
mm,
to do that. And so as a result, they basically saying they owe you these fees back. And you can, join this class action suit. Do your Googles to find out like where to apply. But I
mm.
thought the level of corporate greed, it's just unmatched.
Yeah.
And what's happening, which I'm guessing, I wonder, is the collapse of civilization. Is that your aim? Because so what
They
happens
don't think
once?
that far ahead. It's
So if
quarter to
someone is,
quarter.
girl,
That's what they care
literally
about.
quarter
Quarterly
to
earnings
quarter.
report from what can we do to maximize
I
profits
mean,
in this quarter so that Wall Street will still love us, our stock price will stay
I
high,
just
and our CEOs can get multi-million dollar windfalls
and
even
then
if they
when
suck.
people are literally out on the street, like that is that we have seen civilizations collapse again and again and again because it's like you don't. I mean, I understand the making of money, but
Mm,
unfettered greed is pushing everyday people to the very edge, and there'll be nobody left to buy your bullshit. Then what? Then what? It's just
mhm.
really, it's a scary time that we're living in because I am hearing the chorus in a way that I've not heard before. I was just
Yeah.
like, it started with my friends, just regular everyday friends who have good jobs, like just saying things like, oh, girl, that's a little tough. And you're like, she never said that before. Then a friend who never asked me to borrow money and I've known her since middle school, not a quarter at lunchtime, asked for like rent money. And I was like, that's odd. She doesn't like, of course I gave it to
Mhm.
her because this is not someone, she's not financially responsible. And I thought, that's odd. And then you sharing, I'm like, that's odd. And then all of a sudden my inbox every day, I'm like, there is, mark my words, we are in less, and I mean, they're not going to shift it, but we are careening toward a very dangerous path.
Mhm.
Um, of yes, that there is more money now than ever. And on paper, it might look like you have more money because maybe the things you own are worth more, but they're also costing you more.
We're going to do a brand ambition survey. Forget the investment
Mm,
banks. I want to know what BA fam is going through. In the comments on
mm,
IG, it just won't do. So when this episode airs, there's going to be a survey up at brandambitionpodcast.com. It'll be
okay.
like 3 to 5 questions, and we
Okay.
want to know what's happening because I don't think for a second that Wall Street really cares what's happening for people of color
Yeah.
in general, even though we make such a huge component of the economy and we contribute so much spending to all these different industries. But like, I want to know what BA fam is going through and what you guys want.
Mm,
I'm really excited to have later this month. We're going to have on 2 incredible guests. So one of them is Dasha, broke black girl, Dasha
yes.
Kennedy.
Okay.
And she's working with, what is it, debt.org? on exactly this issue. So I feel like I can't wait to ask them, like, what advice do y'all have? Like, what, instead of, like, I think the best things that we need right now are just like, how can we help people, um, like get through their debt sooner rather than later and like tackle it. I'm not saying I want to be y'all's guinea pig quite yet. I don't know about all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like some more transparency, like let's start saying it out loud. Like we
Yeah.
are in a lot of debt. It
Yes.
is very stressful. We are
Yeah.
also, trying to create families, businesses, have a, still be good citizens and like vote and be good daughters and husbands
Ugh,
and wives and sisters and friends and neighbors. And
girl.
it's like, oh my God, tell me why I became the class parent of my son's class. What was I thinking?
Oh.
No. Like, we're
Oh,
just
it all feels like
struggling.
so much. I'm like, is this the struggle my mother went through? Or I don't even have like these all five babies. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I
man.
just got one grown baby.
We're gonna have, when is that
Yeah.
episode? Come on, hold on a second. Brandon
Okay.
Copeland is their rep. Okay, da, 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 da. Oh, ooh, okay. The 21st, we're gonna interview them. So that means the week
Okay.
of the 21st, we'll have
Okay.
our episode live with Dasha and what is it, Natalia Brown.
Okay.
Your Money Playbook, How to Earn More. Oh shoot, hold on. Just delete this if this is wrong, Tanya, because I
Because the
can't figure
playbook
out.
is on Brandon. That's the name of his book.
Oh, I thought that was like their rep. Okay, so when is Dasha Dynamic Duo? That's what it says. Monday, November. Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm checking now. So we have Dasha scheduled to come on November 4th, which is election week. Okay, so election
Oh.
week, come to the podcast that Wednesday. We're gonna air that episode with Dasha on like what is happening in the United States of debt and how we can start getting out of it
Hmm.
before like the shit hits the fan, like you said,
Yeah.
careening toward whatever
Yeah.
great expression you use. That was very colorful. We're careening somewhere. Careening is
Yeah, we
never
are.
good. I've never
Co-
heard the word careening used in a positive light.
no, we're not. I can feel there's an underswell of we are not the number one thing that I saw like under the our viral post with Mandy being so vulnerable is that people were
Mm,
saying we are not okay. And maybe that's the name of the
mm-hmm.
podcast. We are not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's stop pretending like we are,
Yeah.
because pretending like, I mean, it's just the classic thing. If we put our head in the sand and we ignore what's happening, um, just to get by, like in a way, we're just burying ourselves even deeper.
Hmm.
And there's no way we're going to get out of this pickle unless we start talking about it. So stay tuned. I might be sharing my home equity loan line of credit journey, because I think we've reached that point. I think we're
Okay.
pretty okay with this.
Okay.
Home equity line of credit. I'm nervous about it, but also I'm happy to have the option. And I will be, yeah. Hope we'll see. I'll see if Husbay's down for me. Just listen. If he wanted to stop me, maybe he should listen to the show once in a while. But like what he just, if y'all don't tell him what I'm talking about, maybe he won't know, and it'll be fine. And I'll share my Cash App just in case you guys. I'm just kidding.
You wanna
No, I never will
contribute.
do that. I will never do that.
All right,
Okay,
y'all.
should
We'll
we take a
take a break.
break?
Yes, we should take a break.
Good idea.
Gotta pay some damn bills. Shoot.
Please,
We'll be back in a minute.
please. What does that report say about the podcasting advertising? Did you see about LinkedIn though?
No, yes, I did. So quick, I was like, "Ooh, now that's blown up on my way out." What the fuck? I mean, well, obviously, don't add this part.
Yeah, obviously. I don't know
All
if
right,
it's
that's good.
blowing up. Like, I mean,
But
yeah, but still, it's
and
nice to have options.
I mean, and we are back. It's no, I was gonna say it's time for the BAQA. That's Friday. And now it's time to boost or break or boost or break or boost or break. Is you gonna boost? Is you gonna break? What you gonna do? What you gonna take? La 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 la. I'm gonna actually break, so I don't know if you have something cute. So if you
I have
want to
a
go
cute
last,
boost.
you're gonna boost. So maybe you should go
Hmm.
last. Sometimes I don't like to end on a break because I'm like, ooh, sorry to send you out into the world with darkness. Bye. So I'm
Whatever. I'm going to
gonna
the slots. Bye.
do. Yeah. Like, no, I don't even place. You know me. If anybody knows me, you know I'm not giving not one red cent to these people downstairs. So
Okay.
I am going to do a brown break, which I haven't done in a while. So
Mm.
yesterday I told myself, you know what, self, you haven't taken like a deep walk in a while. Go ahead and take a walk. And so we're right on the strip. I'm staying at 'Cause I'll be gone by the time, guys, listen, I'm saying La Fountain Blue. It's only 1 year old,
Hmm,
a hotel. Yeah. So I don't know.
I've heard of that,
Cabrels.
but it's like a
Yeah.
maybe that location is new. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like it's in Miami too. I feel like I've heard about it in
Fontainebleau.
Miami.
Yeah.
And so I said, I'm going to take a walk on the strip. And I turned right instead of left. Left is like like the part of the strip that I guess you would know. And like Las Vegas is known for its homeless and unhoused population. And it took
Mm.
me a minute for my Newark Spidey senses to pick up. I was like, Molly, you in danger, girl. So I'm
Mm.
walking with my headphones, and then I had to take them
Oh,
down.
not the headphones.
And then
Okay, took them
so
off.
it's before I left the house. So I'm pretty. I would have to say I have pretty strong intuition. Before I left the hotel, and I usually never carry cash. Something said bring cash with you, and I was like, why? It was like just bring it with you. Oh no, I was trying to reconnect. Hopefully, we should be okay. Okay, because I'm hotel. Okay, so anyway, something said bring cash with you, and I was like, why? And it was like just bring cash, and I said okay. So I brought my room key. I put cash in one pocket, zipped it up because I have like these shorts that have zips on them or zippers, and so I went for a walk, and I started walking, 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 and then like my spidey senses, maybe like I don't know, half a mile or mile in, I was like, I feel like you should turn back. And I knew I should because there was a black woman running behind me, but I didn't hear her. And when she got close, I jumped and she said, girl, it's gonna be okay. You might want to spin it around. And I was like, thanks, sis. And so I did.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And I saw a number of, unhoused folks that also didn't look well. They looked like mentally unwell as well.
Oh, she was telling you like this is not where you
Yeah.
want to be going. Back it
Yeah.
up. Mm.
And so I just said, okay. And um I just, like, so I took my headphones off altogether. And not, I mean, I live in Newark, so unhoused people, it's not new. But I don't know. For some reason, it just really struck me. There was an older woman in particular. She looked maybe 60s, early 70s, and she was digging through the trash in a way that broke my heart because she was taking like leftover drinks and making a combined drink.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought to myself, what? It seems so, literally, it brought tears to my eyes because I thought this woman is drinking God knows what. Like, and she was digging through the trash and I didn't want to like scare her. So I just, I walked up to her gingerly and I realized why the intuition said bring money. And I said, excuse me. And she kind of jumped and I said, I'm so sorry, but can I give you something? And she said, sure. And so it was like, I had a $50 bill with me and I gave it to her. She didn't really look at it at first. And she just said, thank you, kind of not looking me in the eye. And I think as I started to walk away, I guess she looked down and she said, oh my goodness. And she kind of came up to me and said, thank you so much. Thank you
Mm.
so much. And I said, no problem, girl, because everybody knows I'm a baby. It wasn't 5 steps in and I'm burst into tears because I
Hmm.
felt so, and I literally, so I don't know, like whatever higher power y'all believe in, but formally, I call it God. Informally, I call it love, right? That's why if I think of like what higher power means to me, it's just this feeling of love, right? And so I was like talking to this internal, external higher power was like, literally, I said, why would you allow her to have so little when someone like me has so much? This is what I asked of the higher power. And you know what the higher power said back to me? Because God be talking back to me. It said, why would you? And I was like, oh, not reading me for filth
Mm.
because the sense was, girl, I have given enough. Y'all hoarding it. Because why does that lady not have enough?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, it's true. Like, I certainly like I would call myself a generous person, I guess, but I thought there's more that I could do because how many unhoused people live right in Newark where I live? And am I doing anything like systematically to help? There are other organizations I give to and I donate here and did like, I'm always clearing like teachers be hitting me in my inbox. They have their Amazon list for the classroom. I'm the queen of clearing the whole account. So that I'm not new to that. I like, but I was just like, Tiffany, what would $1,000 or $1,500 do a month in your city if you, I know 3 restaurateurs personally that I can say, hey girl, if I gave you $1,500 once a month, how many people could you feed? When you're closed. Like how much food could I buy at cost? And it's like, oh, every first Tuesday, people know they can come here. Like I know one restaurateur in particular, her name is Adina. She is a child of like war. She came to the United States. She owns an IHOP, which is I think it's like the number one most successful IHOP in the Eastern Seaboard. She also
Mm.
owns this place called like Bijan or Vegan Newark or whatever. She owns like I think two IHOPs. Anyway, very successful, young, and I know for a fact that Adina does like free food for kids. I know that she has like times where she feeds the unhoused. What would it take if I said, "Girl, here's an extra $1,500, $2,000 from me to like how many additional people?" And what if I went through? So I just started thinking about it. What if I went through the United Way and said, if I gave it through you and then allow, and asking that my only ask is that at least 90% of it went directly to the restaurant to do the good work, because then it'll allow maybe corporate entities, because Prudential's in Newark, Panasonic is in Newark, to then also give in a way that like, that they're going to want to give, which is through like a nonprofit entity. But
Mm.
like, and making it a thing. And I called my friend Denise, and Denise was like, "Oh, if it's like, every first Sunday, I can bring clothes that day." And, women in shelters often don't have sanitary, for their menstrual cycles. Like, so even if you don't have money to give, you're like, I can drop off pads, I can drop off socks, I can, things that people don't normally have access to. And so I just thought, because if I'm being honest, the place where I am now, $1,500 a month it's not going to break anything that's happening here, and so it's like, instead of saying like, why would you allow this thing to happen, it's like, Tiffany, why would you? And so I just committed to that like, I was like, I'm going
Mm.
to start off at like $1,500 a month. And just simple and soon. I try not to overthink it. Certainly, yes, it'd be
Yeah.
great to
The
partner with
food
you.
bank? The
Yeah,
there's like
that's
food
true.
banks are great because I think there's
Okay.
also been a rise in people just going to food banks. And
Okay.
there's the we have an organization, it's called Feeding Westchester, that I do my monthly tithe contribution to.
Okay.
And you'll see them set up and the lines are always wrapped around the block.
Okay.
So that's, yeah, I think that's wonderful. And I think that's all we really, that's one of the things that you can do. I think
Yeah.
that there's so many different
Yeah.
levels of attack when it comes to these like systemic chronic issues,
Yeah.
poverty, hunger. You could also tie in the opioid crisis with that too,
Yeah.
the rising cost of housing. It's like all of these issues are interconnected and they
Yeah.
require such a multi-pronged
Yeah.
approach to. And it's like taking off the pressure from yourself to be the one to fix it and
Fix
just
every.
understanding,
Yeah.
yeah, just understanding that we all have a role to
Yes.
play: voting, elected
Yes.
officials,
Yeah.
legislation, staying,
It could
all of
just be
that.
like, what? I'm gonna carry pads with me. And then,
Hmm.
because sometimes you feel so overwhelmed, because you're like, well, what about, and then it's like, okay, okay, I cannot fix
Hmm.
all the world's ills, but I could, to your point, I could donate $1,500 to the food bank, and then I could make it something where I'm just like, because one of the things I used to do stuff like this all the time, that I would like, if somebody needed help, or there was an organization for giving, I would post about it regularly, because what I found is that people actually want to do good works. They just don't want to do the work to find the good works, because they're like, girl, I don't have time to figure out what's legitimate. And so if
Yeah.
there's good works that I know where it actually helps people, I can say, hey, just so you know, I'm doing my monthly donation, and I see for myself, because I go there physically, that this is the benefit of that. If you're looking for a place, here's a legitimate one. Sometimes just even sharing that. So I just, because when I tell you, it took everything. I was like, Tiffany, why are you crying? You had to get through the grass. But I was just like, I had to really be like, get yourself together. Because I just felt so, it just, nobody should live like that. We're not animals. I mean, we are, but you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
that like, this is someone's daughter at the end of the day.
Hmm.
She might even be somebody's mother. She might be somebody's aunt. I used to think about it all the time when I used to walk my babies, when I taught preschool, because they lived in a neighborhood where that was quite common to see afflicted, drug addicted, unhoused. And I used to think to myself as I was walking my babies, like, I pray that this is never going to be their future. Because at some point, they were somebody's babies.
Hmm.
They were somebody's 3-year-old, maybe in preschool. How does it turn into this? I don't know. And so it just used to make me want to love them, on them as much as possible, to hopefully see them through,
Yeah.
like whatever life might bring. And so I just said, okay, you can't fix everything, but this is what you can do. I don't want to get analysis paralysis. And so, yeah, but I mean, if you are listening to this and you're like, oh, actually, Tiffany, here's maybe you're someone who works for a food bank, or somebody who, I just want to make sure that at least 90% of like what I give goes directly to be of service. So I'm just wanting to make sure. And to me, the thing that's pushing me is like helping people have access to food. Um,
Mm.
so I don't know. So if there's like an even better way, I'm open to it. So I don't, I'm not stuck in one particular way. This is just what came to mind. But I just want to make sure that I don't want to give 1,500 and 500 goes. It's like, no, 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 no. I
Yeah.
want to give 1,500. I get sometimes there's administrative things, or maybe you have to buy containers or plates
I
or
like
napkins
that.
or whatever.
I
But
like that website Charity Navigator because it grades
okay,
charities based on how much overhead, like
okay,
how much money contributions go toward the cause and how much
hmm,
toward overhead costs and stuff. But
okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess it's my break, but just for the sadness of it all. But also, sometimes I guess
mm,
we need to be shaken up and shaken out of our comfort zone.
we need to
You know?
look. We have to be
Yeah,
confronted sometimes,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it could be really easy for you to go left instead of right. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Um, yeah.
yeah. I know.
So, my
I
boost.
know. This is why I didn't want to end on this. I was like, let's not end on the break. Let's
Mhm.
turn it around to something a little more
Let me just
jolly.
haul this 18 wheeler of sadness the other direction. We're careening. Let's careen. Woo!
Sidebar, not us having matching hairstyles today.
Do all
Girl.
the pineapple. Oh, mine
Yeah.
looks so raggedy, but
No,
yeah,
it's
it's
cute.
very
Girl, your
cute.
girl's always popping. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just like not really popping today. I'm just so tired of the age we have to see ourselves all the time. Like, remember when we had our podcast and there was no video, and it's
Girl,
like,
I used to be on here looking crazy.
yes, never had to
Remember, I
even
remember
see
when you
each
said you wanted to
other.
you wanted to do video, and I was like, but Mandy,
Was
I
that
don't know
my
how.
idea?
Yeah, I was so like, but do you understand how I show up, girl? I'll be having one
I
sock
know.
on. I'll be having like, just. But no, I mean, we're
Uh,
here now. I'm not mad
yeah,
at it. But at the time, I was like, this is my place to look crazy.
yeah, and it's
So
no
I
longer
mean,
that.
yeah, that's okay.
Anyway, I want to do a shout out to the New York Liberty because
Mm.
they're going to the playoffs. And I know that because my friend texted me. And she's a very good sports fan. And I am not a very good sports fan because I already use a lot of my executive. I don't know how this woman has time to like pay attention to game times and buy tickets in advance. I really do want to be a sports fan. I want to be a fan of the New York Liberty. I want to go to games and stuff like that. I told her next year is going to be the year. Even though last year I said I was really going to devote myself to the Georgia Bulldogs and SEC, and I just like I lost track.
Mm.
But shout out to them because it's a woman, it's a WNBA, and they are killing it. And
Yes. Is that Ellie? Is that they have the
Ellie the
monster?
elephant.
Ah,
Yes. And I
she's
know I was looking at ticket prices. I just can't do it. But yeah, I can't do it this year. I'm trying to make better
mm.
decisions with my money. As I have stated previously. Not y'all. See, everyone's gonna be judging me now. Didn't you say?
Ooh, girl, I was thinking that like not the
It's
girl that went to
accountability.
Beyonce.
Yeah, it's accountability. It's accountability. You're right. I don't need to be spending money. We got food. We have sports
we
at
got we
home.
got food out. We got sports.
Got sports at home. But yeah, shout out to them and to WNBA fans. And I just love how exciting this is. And I can't wait to make my boys WNBA fans
Hmm.
and all of that. And I don't think Caitlin Clark is on that team, but like shout out to her. And I almost said Shakari Richardson. That is not a basketball
Girl.
player. Let
We
me
just
stop
had
while
all
I'm ahead.
right, let's try all the she's like sports, sportsy sports, all the sport girlies. I love
Hmm.
it.
I'm like sports. I want to know. But like the
Yes.
thing is, I'm either like 100% in, or I'm like not even. Like when I get
Mm,
invested, I will. I want to be invested. You know.
mm,
But we'll see next year. There's always next year. But good luck.
yes.
Good luck in the playoffs. I hope we win. And Ellie the elephant. I'll be looking at your clips online because
Yes.
you
Because
are
you're
that
fabulous, girl.
girl for whoever's
Yes.
inside.
Wait,
And that's all. Thanks for listening to the show.
real quick. Do we have any new? It's always nice to read. Do we have any new
New reviews. Oh, let me
review? Because
check.
while Mandy's looking, we love a review, especially on Apple, because it allows
Mm.
people to find us, to see us. It amplifies our voices even further, especially if they're 5-star. No pressure. Um,
I mean,
but
a little bit of
yeah.
pressure is fine.
So, and we might review on the show. So do it.
All right, listener Moy Ray says, I literally just shared your show with my friend. I'm a first time listener and I just love your energy. You're so fun to listen to. Looking forward to many more listens.
Yes,
Thank you, Moy
muy, muy,
Ray.
muy, muy.
Muy, 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 muy. Or maybe it's moi, Ray. I don't know. Are you French? I'm going moi. I'm know why. I
Why
think
do
it's
we feel
wrong.
so silly today?
I think it's very wrong. Well, thank you, BA fam. All right, stay tuned because we're going to come to you Friday with the
Mhm,
BAQUA. And don't
mhm.
miss our Hollaback episodes,
On
which air on
Mondays.
Monday, where we dive into our archives and dig up an oldie but a goodie, especially for the new listeners who haven't had
Mhm.
time to listen to, I don't know, 600 episodes over 9 years. How dare you? But we're going to find the best of the best and bring them to you Monday.
All
So
right.
until
Bye,
then,
y'all. Bye bye.
bye.